Hello, my name is Sarah Martin, and I will be reading Stinkwater from the book, The Barefoot Book of Earth Tales. So once upon a time, there was an old man and an old woman, and they lived in a little cottage. And every night while the woman made supper, she would fill the pail with their rubbish, and she would empty the sink at night, and the old man would take the bucket out to dump it, and he would stop, stop, step, 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 stop, step, step, stop, and he would get to the end of the road and he would dump the pail over the wall. And then one day he heard a little voice and he looked down and there was a fairy, and the fairy said, "Hey, you've been dumping your water on me." And the giant said, "Oh my goodness, there's your house, and it's crusty and old and has stuff coming out of it. I had no idea." Just then the old woman, the little fairy lady, came out with their baby. And the fairy was telling the old man that their baby was sick and that him dumping his water over the wall was making their baby sick, and that they needed to come up with some other plan for their rubbish. So the old man and the fairy sat on the wall until it was dark, and they couldn't come up with any idea of what to do. So the old man and the fairy came up with the idea that they would come back, and in 3 days they would have a plan. So the old man went home and he told his wife all about the fairy and the fairy's house and the fairy's baby, and the old woman said, "We have to do something different." And the old man said, "I'm just too tired. I cannot carry the bucket any further. I step, step, stop, step, step, stop, and I can't do it. I just can't do it." So the old woman and the old man sat around for those 3 days, and they couldn't come up with any reason, any way to make it work. They just couldn't do it. So they talked about different things, but they couldn't do it. And the old man just thought, I can't walk any further than the end of the road to the wall, and that's where I've dumped our water for years. And then one day the old woman had an idea. Out behind their house was a farmer's field, and the pigs would love the slop. But the old man said, "No, I can't walk that far. I can't take it that far. It's too far." And the old woman said, "But we can make a door on the back of the house." And the old man said, "We don't have money to make a door on the back of the house." And the old woman said, "Yes, we will make a door on the back of the house." So they made the door on the back of the house, and the old man went out the back door and over the wall into the farmer's field where the pig was, and he shared the rubbish with the pig, and the pig was so happy, and the fairies were able to fix their house and make it beautiful again, and their baby was well again, and everyone lived happily ever after. This was the story Stinkwater from the book, The Barefoot Book of Earth Tales by Dawn Casey. I really enjoyed this book because of the connection to the different tales around the earth. So many of them had great moral stories, like the gecko that just needed to get along with the mosquitoes and the fireflies. He just needed to get over himself. I think that's a great little tale for our children. I also liked that there were activities inside. So at the end of each story, there was an activity that you could do with your students to go along with the story. Great book. Really enjoyed it. And I loved the connection of the whales story of Stinkwater to my own heritage. Hope I don't look too bad tonight. Worked a 12-hour day. We had Fall Festival tonight. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.